Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to my Maserati GranTurismo. So in this episode we're going to try and answer the question, why does the GranTurismo sound so good? If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by, really hope you enjoy it. And if you like this kind of content with my own cars, this fantastic sounding GranTurismo from 2013, a beautiful CL500 Mercedes from 2011, and a cute little MG from 1970, it'd be great to have you as a subscriber. So ever since the GranTurismo first came out in about 2007, virtually everyone has agreed that it makes one of the best sounds there's ever been. The engine and the exhaust combination just make this beautiful, rich, chocolatey, aggressive, it's just everything all in one. And I just wanted to try and understand why it sounds so good. So I did a few experiments and we're going to go through those in this video. But I thought while I was driving, I could just explain what the basics are. And hold on to your hats because there's a little bit of science coming here, but it's not too heavy and might be interesting. So what I tried to do in this video is I tried to do a little bit of audio analysis. So that's kind of understanding the sounds that are coming out of the car and trying to explain why and what it is about those sounds that make it so kind of good and so nice to listen to. It's all a bit qualitative in the sense that it's very subjective. What people like as a sound is, you know, it's a very personal decision, but there are some scientific things which can help explain why a car like this sounds so damn good. So the first thing I did was I got my video camera, I mounted a good quality stereo microphone onto it, I clamped it to the rear of the car, and then took the car for a few kilometers of driving, just to try and get some examples of the sound in different phases of the driving, so like accelerating and steady state. But essentially what I did was I took the audio waveform and I put it into an application called Audacity, which is like an audio processing and analysis tool. So any sound wave can be split up into a number of different components. It's kind of like, you remember those old-fashioned stereos that had a graphic equalizer? So each of those little sliders would boost or lower a particular frequency band, and you could change the quality of the sound just by adjusting the relative heights of those sliders to give a different kind of quality of sound. Now that's exactly the same as we're doing with a frequency analysis or a spectrum. Just to add a little bit more complexity to it, a spectrum in like a 2D graph is essentially a snapshot of the frequencies at a particular point in time. But if you've got a sound file which extends over time, you have to plot it in what's called a spectrogram, which shows time along the bottom and then frequency up the side, and the brighter areas of the plots show where the highest intensity of those particular frequencies are, and you get an actual like a 3D plot of the sound, its frequencies and their intensity. So this is a little recording from Audacity. This top window here in the blue shows the actual audio waveform. That's basically the sound pressure going up and down
lots of times every second to actually make the sound. And the bottom part of this display here is the spectrogram, and this scale up the side is actually the frequency in hertz or cycles per second, going from 17, which is very low, up to just under 2000, which is quite high. And these lines, these brighter areas, are the high energy frequencies, and the darker colors are the low energy frequencies. So you can see here, as the car accelerates, the kind of fundamental note of the car increases and then changes gear and then stays consistent. And these brighter patches up here show other frequencies which are harmonics of the main frequency, which give the sound its character. So if I just play this, for example, you will hear So that's what I mean by transferring an audio file into a spectrogram.
So I also took my wife's car out for a drive today as well, did the same thing. She's got a fairly standard Mazda, it's 4-cylinder engine, nothing special, it's purely like a CX model, but I thought what I'd do is I'd try and record that for a comparison. So let's look at the CX3 first, and when we look at the spectrogram of, for example, an acceleration, you can see that there's a fundamental note of the exhaust, which is like the sound, the main sound you can hear, but there's not very much above that. There's no real complexity to the sound. It's very plain and basic. That's why the CX3 doesn't sound anything special in its engine and exhaust note.
So here's the CX3 spectrogram of an acceleration. It was basically the same one as you heard a bit earlier. You can see the fundamental here rising as the revs increase, but there's really no complexity or interesting harmonics in this area above here. There are a few little harmonics. Every sound that's not a pure sine wave will have some harmonics, but the harmonics are very limited, and that's what gives this particular sound a bit of a lack of character.
But now have a look at the Maserati doing an acceleration, and you can see not only does it have that fundamental frequency, which is the note you can hear, but it also has so much more complexity in terms of the higher frequencies. You can see these parallel lines, all these lines moving up together. All of those bright spots are, frequencies above the base frequency, which add to the kind of richness and texture and depth of the sound.
So here's a similar plot spectrogram of the Maserati doing an acceleration, and down here you can see the fundamental rising here. You can also see that there are some other lower frequencies as well, which you didn't notice on the other plot. But have a look up here and you can see all these harmonics above the fundamental frequency, and all of these harmonics just add complexity and interest and depth to the sound. It's difficult to actually quantify, but just by having that extra harmonic structure above the kind of fundamental note just gives it that richness that the CX3 just doesn't have. And I'll just play this little section so you can hear it with the spectrogram as well.
Pictures don't really convey, the emotional sense of it, and I haven't really been able to work out why the Maserati sounds so good. I'd be interested to hear your comments. Let me know down below in the comments what do you think it is about the sound that gives it that kind of feeling, that gives you that kind of feeling when you hear it, that it just sounds awesome? What makes it sound awesome? I don't know. I was trying to analyze it scientifically and try and work it out, but it doesn't really work compared to like an ordinary car, which is not a like a performance car. It has much more complexity and richness. So apologies, my camera just freaked out there for a moment. So I was just in the middle of trying to explain why I think the Maserati sounds so good. I don't think there's any way we can scientifically quantify it. I think there's a lot of emotional and human factors that determine what makes a car sound good. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Let's see if we can form a consensus as to what it is that causes us to respond in a certain way to a certain car sound. But anyway, I think we're just gonna do some flybys just to let you enjoy the sound of this beautiful engine and exhaust, and make up your own minds. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't think we reached any conclusions really, other than it's beyond anything scientific that we can explain as to why the car sounds so good. I love the sound of this car. It's just so exciting to drive. You just roll the windows down and just soak up that rich V8 sound. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you've got any thoughts as to what it is that gives that emotional response to a particular car sound. It doesn't have to be this one. I mean, other cars have a great sound as well, but what is it about that sound that kind of sets off the triggers in our brains? No idea. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to smash that like. It'd be great to have you as a subscriber, and hit that notification bell. You can follow me on Instagram down here. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.